All right, today we're going to begin the respiratory system. We're going to talk about all of the structures that air passes from the nose all the way to the alveoli, or the site of gas exchange within the lungs. So when we enter the nose, and this word is not up here, so don't look for it. It is a vocabulary term, though. See your nose hole. Your nose hole is called a nares, N-A-R-E. So you have a right nares and a left nares. And if you look in the mirror, your right and your left nares are not actually symmetrical. They're shaped a tiny bit different. The right nares leads to the right side of the nasal passage, and the left nares leads to the left side of the nasal passage. In this cross section here, we're only seeing the right side of the nasal passage because it's cut in a mid-sagittal plane. The nasal septum, which is not seen here because that's where the cut is made, is actually that partition. If you kind of squeeze on your nose, it's the cartilage partition that separates the right and the left nasal cavity. We also have inside our nasal cavity, or like inside of our head. We can't see these, of course. These three bumpy things, and they're called the nasal turbinates. The nasal turbinates are three bony prominences that increase surface area. So anytime we increase surface area in the body by having extra folds and lumps and bumps, it's so we can do a job better. So if we said the job of the nasal cavity was to warm, moisten, and filter air, the more mucous membrane we have, the better we're going to do that. So the more we pass by a mucous membrane, the more moisture, warmth we're going to pick up, the more cilia is present for increased filtration. We also have cilia all throughout our respiratory tract. We know we have actual like full out hair in our nose, but cilia is a little bit different. They're hair-like structures, and they're teeny, 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 tiny. And these are things that catch stuff like dust and pollen and dirt and the random stuff in the environment that is small enough to float in the air, but should not be in our lungs. Excuse me, that was my kitty cat. Our sinuses. Our sinuses are hollow spaces within our skull bones, and they're named after the skull bone that they're located in. Therefore, these, if you put your two fingers above your eyebrows, and if we were in class, I would make you do this. These are your frontal sinuses. Your maxillary sinuses are over your cheeks. Your ethmoid and sphenoid sinuses are closer to your nasal cavity in the midline of your body. So what happens with sinuses? They're spaces that are lined with mucous membrane. That mucous membrane secretes mucus and produces some of the mucus that we have in our respiratory system, but it also allows a hollow space for sound to resonate. When we speak, that resonance of sound sounds differently when our sinuses are full of snot or mucus. So when you have a sinus infection or you have a really bad cold and there's additional mucus in your sinuses, your voice sounds different because it's going through mucus, not a hollow space. All right, now down to our pharynx. Your pharynx is your throat. So if I scroll up here, this area right here is going to be our pharynx. Now, we could go down two tubes. Your pharynx is shared with your digestive tract. If we are eating food, it's going to go down the back tube, which is the esophagus. If we are breathing air, it's going to go in here through our trachea. So pharynx is shared with the digestive tract and commonly called the throat. When food is swallowed, your epiglottis, or this cute little flap here, closes so food doesn't go down the wrong tube. Now we're going to go to our larynx. Your larynx is your voice box. See right here,